All right, everybody, what is going on? This is episode 531 of the First and Frame Rate Show. I am VF Barlow. Over here, we talk about Georgia Southern and Atlanta Falcons football. We're going to be talking about some Atlanta Falcons today, and I just want to address the quarterback situation because right now I don't think we have a quarterback outside of Desmond Ridder. I don't think Marcus Mariota's coming back, and Felipe Franks is not a solid option. So the Atlanta Falcons need a solid backup. I'm already on the bandwagon. Going to be honest with you. I think Desmond Ridder is going to be QB1 unless somebody takes him off of that position. He's done enough in 4 games to at least be the starter going into next season. There will be a real surprise if they do draft a quarterback in the first 4 rounds of the upcoming draft. Like, seriously, if they draft the quarterback within the first 4 rounds of the next draft, I will be surprised. I expect them to probably go with some type of veteran or get a rookie late in the draft. I will even hedge that bet a little bit and say they may get someone in the 4th round, but the first 3, I do not see them getting a quarterback. So looks like Desmond Ridder is going to be the guy. I want to talk about why he's going to be the guy and why we need a solid backup. If this is your first time here, welcome. I could be found on YouTube and Rumble. I'm also on Anchor, Stitcher, Spotify, Apple, and Google Podcasts. This show is brought to you by BetUS. Click that link down in the description. You can get put down $100 and you'll get a 125% bet book bonus. That will help you on your way if you want to make wagers on anything from the NBA, college basketball. I think they're going to be doing XFL and USFL. Also, baseball is coming up as well. It's kind of weird. the XFL is just about to start in like 4 days from this episode or 3 days from this episode. It's really weird how that, football is not ending. So that's going to be interesting. I'm going to watch that this weekend, give my thoughts and opinions on that, maybe in a later episode or on a video on the YouTube side of things. And I'm just ecstatic about that. It's actually pretty interesting. Also, if you want to help donate or contribute to the show, you can hit that Cash App at VFBaller20, or you can hit the PayPal as well. It really, really be much, much appreciated. Also, you can follow me on Twitter for all things that I don't get to talk about on the show that I will be posting over there. Also, we do have another Discord. I don't run a Discord. My buddy Jacob runs the Discord. You can find him on Twitter. The Georgia Southern Discord is a phenomenal Discord. Highly recommend you guys to go check that out as well. Georgia Southern Sports Hub, I think that's what it's called. Go check that out, and you guys will be amazed how well that is put together. So I'm going to get into this show. I done said enough. I done talked about 2 minutes about extra stuff. Let's talk about these Falcons. Desmond Ridder is going to be QB1, in my opinion. I think he's going to be QB1. I don't think anybody's going to come in and take that from him. You got people like the owner, the coaches, they all like him. It's really interesting to see how the type of quarterback we got now compared to what we had last year or even when Matt Ryan was here. Matt Ryan was pretty much the guy that was your prototypical stand in the pocket leader of the offense. Now we got a guy who is a little bit more dynamic. We've seen him move around a little bit. He's been making some really phenomenal throws in his 4 games. I think we're going to see more of that. We're going to see more of a progression of him. And I think he's going to get a shot to actually lead this team. I think he's done phenomenal considering the situation in the last 4 games of the season. But when you start seeing when the offseason comes in, knowing that he's going to be the guy, knowing that things are going to be pretty much planned around him this go around, I don't see Marcus Mariota coming back to actually take the reins again. When you start seeing this turn of events where it's going to be catered to him, in my opinion, I just don't see where this will turn into a situation where we bring someone in to take over, unless if you really going to have Russell Wilson, Matt Flynn situation, where Matt Flynn was the guy at Seattle and Russell Wilson just came in as a 4th rounder. I think it was like 4th or 3rd rounder. comes in and just blows everybody away, and Matt Flynn was never pretty much heard from again. But with that being said, it's gonna be very hard for me to see that. We're probably gonna get a guy that's probably gonna be late in the draft and probably gonna be a solid backup for him. Even if you want to flip the script, because I've seen there's other rumblings of us possibly getting CJ Stroud in the first round. I don't see it, but if you do, you're gonna have quarterback 1 and quarterback 2, possibly basically the same age, same, I ain't gonna say the same type of player, but basically in the same area of their career. That's gonna be a hard situation to deal with, in my opinion. I mean, you kind of see what happened with RG3 and Kirk Cousins. You're probably almost looking at like the same ordeal. I'm not sure if that's viable. I'm not even sure if that's going to be something that Coach Arthur Smith and company wants to do. Now, I know CJ Stroud can move a little bit. He's a little bit mobile. And in some cases, some people barely say that he's better than Desmond Ridder. But I just don't see it the way this will play out. They may will give Desmond Ridder 1 year to see what he can do. But if they do pick a quarterback like that, I think you still have a solid backup in Desmond Ridder. I just don't see it happening, though. I know some people, would like to see that because nowadays a lot of people don't want to see quarterbacks, develop. I mean, you look at the quarterbacks now. I mean, I remember at one point people saying like Josh Allen had to go after he was doing some wonky plays. Now Josh Allen look like he's an MVP candidate for the, going forward every year. A lot of people had their growing pains about Justin Herbert at one point. But Justin Herbert looked like he's going to be that guy as well. You look at a lot of guys who just come in and take those licks and actually go through the progressions of learning how to play throughout a season, and you see how they turn out. Desmond Ridder did have 4 games. I think he did phenomenal, and I think he has the right to. I think he deserves the right to even get tested out to be QB1 next year. But I know how this plays out. A lot of people, and I know, thankfully, they're not in the front office, but you have a lot of people that really want to see a quarterback go to the bench after a couple of drives. In some cases, after a couple of throws. They want them to go directly to the bench and just try somebody else. You got some people already saying like Desmond Ridder's not the guy, but that after 4 games, I don't think he even got a fair shake to actually say he's going to be QB1. But I think he's done enough to at least get the look for QB1. So I think that you give him the look, see what he does in preseason, see what he does at least in the first 2 games of the regular season, and you get a solid backup if things don't go well. That's just how I am, because if you get another rookie quarterback, you're going to be back in the same situation that you were. Now, you can put, this any one of these. If you get a rookie quarterback or you get Desmond Ridder, you can put him out there like the Kenny Pickett situation. Kenny Pickett end up progressing throughout the season, but you still like, do you really want to do that with 2 young quarterbacks, or do you want to do that and you have a veteran behind them just in case if things go left, you have somebody to fall back on to play, in that position. I mean, it's very dicey when you look at it. I think personally, go ahead and let Desmond Ridder try to make something happen within at least the first half of the season, at the most, and see where he plays, how he plays. If he plays solid throughout the first half of the season, or in some situations, if he doesn't do well, give him 4 games and then move on to, let's say you did draft a quarterback early, or you draft one later, or if you got if you have a veteran quarterback, put them in. And maybe you'll reevaluate if you draft another quarterback next year, or you just feel like Desmond isn't ready and he goes back and do it again. Because, it's a dicey situation. The Falcons are in a really good situation to make this a reality and go through this process. Arthur Blank is actually loving the fact that the way that Desmond Ridder is carrying himself. He thinks that that he could be the guy for the future. He loves the quarterback. He loves Desmond Ridder. He also is optimistic about the fact of the Falcons in the direction where they're going in. And that's a really good deal, because I said this before, even with Matt Ryan being the quarterback who he was then, you see where we are now with this quarterback. There is some type of a shift of what the Falcons actually look like. The Falcons don't look like that team of old where, you're worried about them not winning games because of they have a lead and don't know how that's going to play out. Yeah, I understand the whole situation with the Saints in the first part of the season, but that team still played very well. It wasn't a situation where the team necessarily just fell apart. You just couldn't stay on the field, unlike these other situations when we lost games where just it literally the entire team looked like they fell apart. And I know there's, you can make a case for the Michael Thomas situation, all this other stuff, how AJ Terrell was not at his best at the time. I get it. But the team collectively played pretty good. And I still believe if you had better quarterback play, we wouldn't have lost to the Saints. But that's a whole nother story for another day. And but the perception of the team is we're not that team that actually, lose games that way now. We're in the fight of all of these games. You look at the games that we lost last year, at least, you know what's funny about this? I'm going to look this up real quick before I get out of here because I think I said enough. But when you look at the team from, the team from last year and the scores from last year, and I talked about this, let's see. Let's see if I can get this right. All right, here's the full schedule. You look at the games from last year, every game they were in by at least one score. I ain't going to say one score or less, but at least one score. Outside of one game, when you look at the Cincinnati game, we lost that game by, what that was, 18. You look at the rest of these games, they're 27, 26, 37, 31, 27. One game, 1 point game, 4 point game, 4 point game, 3 point game, 6 point game. We won this game. We won by 14, beat the 49ers. We lost by 18 to the Cincinnati Bengals. 3 point game, 3 point game, 10 point game against the Cardinals, which I still think that's a 7 point game. But, they kicked that field goal with like 8 seconds left, so I don't think those 3 points necessarily count. Technically they do, but you know what I mean. Beat Chicago by 3, lost to Washington by 6, lost to Pittsburgh by 3, lost to New Orleans by 3. Lost to Baltimore by 8, which is, like I said, is another 8 on 1 point, 1 score game. Beat Arizona by 1 and beat Tampa Bay 30-17. So, I mean, you look at all these games, all of them are 1 possession games, 1 score games. So it's totally different what it was back in the day when we had huge leads, or we had a respectable lead and we ended up losing the game, because the team came back. Like I said, outside of the first game when we lost 27-26, that's the only game you can really look at and be like, all right, we blew that game. And like I said, it's to me, I still believe that was on Marcus Mariota. But that's, like I said, it's another story for another day. I don't really want to get into that too much. But I will say this. We need a quarterback that's going to lead us. And I think that's Desmond Ridder. That's just my personal opinion. We need a solid backup that's going to be either Desmond Ridder be the solid backup if things don't go right, or we get somebody who's going to back up Desmond Ridder. And I think we'll be all right. I'll just leave it there, and we'll just go into the next episode on Thursday. If you like this commentary, hit the like button, share this podcast, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Let me know what you guys think, man. Do we need a solid quarterback? And I think that with whether it be Ridder, which I think he's going to be QB1, or we turn right back around and we get another quarterback that could possibly outplay him and he be the backup. Either way, there's a solid win there. I don't see Marcus Mariota coming back. I don't see Felipe Franks being that guy. So this is where we are. I could be found on YouTube and Rumble. I'm also on Anchor, Stitcher, Spotify, Apple, Google Podcasts. If you want to donate to the show, the Cash App is at VFBaller20. Also, the PayPal, all that links are down in the description. Follow me on Twitter for all things that I don't get to talk about on this show. And also, this show is brought to you by BetUS. I'm going to tell you guys, I am exhausted. I am really exhausted. Getting all this stuff together, trying to move and trying to do all these other things, it is a drag. But I will say this, is well worth it. And I can't wait to get all this together. Prayers. Hopefully you guys are pulling for me and my family, trying to get things together, because moving is one thing. Moving to another state is another. But it looks like we're going to be in a pretty good position based on how things are playing out. Pull for us. And I really appreciate the support. I thank you guys once again. I'm going to get up out of here. Give me some rest. I'll see you guys on the next one. Y'all take it easy and y'all be blessed. Peace.